Alright guys, first off as always, good afternoon. So if you got the packet from me earlier this week, um, then you're set to go. If you haven't and you have a sheet of paper, um, be sure that your name's on the paper and that you put on the side, warm-up response, notes, question response, so that way I can see it broken down instead of just all jumbled up together in one large mess. Okay, so if you're ready, let's begin. All right, so here's your warm-up picture. Now, the first question asks you, what do you see? Analyze this picture. There's a lot of different things on this picture that's going on. So go ahead, take a look, analyze it from left to right, up and down, from side to side. Okay, now as you're going through and you're listing the stuff, be sure that you pay attention to this one particular part, okay? Um, Especially at the bottom. The bottom is one of the biggest parts. Now, that leads to the second question. After you've gone through and analyzed the entire picture, um, what do you notice about the people on the bottom? Okay, look at their expressions, look what they're doing. They're trying to grab something, what are they grabbing? Um, and look what's holding them down, as opposed to the people on top. So what do you think this artist is trying to say? Okay, and also, do you agree with it? Do you agree with this artist, what they're trying to say? Okay, so take some time, pause the video, and answer this part. Okay. Now, there are three major forms of government. It's autocracy, oligarchy, democracy. All right, now we're going to look at each one of them. And we're going to see how in each section they kind of have a little splinter group. Okay, so first, autocracy. Autocracy is any system of government where the power and authority rests with one person. Um, a great example of this is a absolute or totalitarian dictator. Now, these guys usually tend to glorify themselves. A great example would be Adolf Hitler. During World War II, basically, when you ended the conversation, you had to say "Heil Hitler." You know, even when you answer the phone, you had to say "Heil Hitler," which meant "Hail him." So yeah, so can you just imagine like answering the phone, "Heil Hitler," and then all of a sudden, no, wrong number, sorry, no problem, Heil Hitler, and it's just why is he listening to you? And things like that. It's just they do this to make themselves bigger, so that you don't forget who is in charge, and type of thing like that. Um, so again, they basically make people say their names and make people glorify them. Now, a monarch, that is usually with the king, queen, or emperor. Now, I've been having questions from students saying, what's the difference between an emperor and a dictator? Well, here's the difference. A dictator usually, again, glorifies themselves, whereas an emperor already knows, I'm the head dude. So, you don't like it, tough luck. You know, they are all about power, whereas the other people are more about feeding the ego and power. Now, when it comes to monarchy, there's two types of monarchies. One is the absolute, which means they have ultimate control, they have ultimate power. Um, there's nothing anyone can say or do to get their way. It's the king wants it that way or queen wants it that way, that's the way it's going to be. The other type of monarchy is the constitutional monarchy. Now, this is when the king or queen shares power with the elected legislature, and they're basically seen as ceremonial leaders. So like the King of England, it's a great example of that. The King and Queen of England, I should say, because they really don't have that much power. They can't say we're going to war and this and that. And they can't say we're going to tax everyone $5,000 extra. They don't have that power. That rests with Parliament and with the Prime Minister. So Yeah, the king and queen, yeah, they have a little itty bitty say so, but it's nothing like relevant in everyday lives. All right, so next one is oligarchy. Now, oligarchy is a system of government where only a small group of people holds the power. Now, usually their power comes from several sources, either from their wealth, their military power, their social position, or a combination. You know, um, two forms of that is aristocracy. Aristocracy is basically you're ruled by nobility, and that is like your family's been around forever. They're like very well respected and things like that. The other one is plutocracy. Now, plutocracy is basically money. The more money you have, the more power you have. The problem is with that is like here in this country, most people when they get money, they like to spend it. Kind of look what I have, look what I have, look at me type of thing. Whereas though in that society, they don't want to spend their money because you spend money, that means you're losing it. Yeah, you may get something for it, but you know, you will lose power if you lose your wealth. So that's where that comes in. So they those people try to strive to have the most money over everyone else. Now, governments like autocracy and oligarchy claim to be for the people, you know, and they go there and they tell people, hey, hey, why are you all like this for? Why are you trying to revolt? No, no, no. See, we're doing this stuff for you. We're good. We got plenty of stuff. It's about you. We care about you. You know, um, you have to work. Don't worry. We'll take care of you because we understand. You know, yes, we will do things for you. It's all lies. It's all lies. Usually they do this when people talk about revolting, things like that. Because again, especially like in a autocracy or oligarchy, usually it's just a small amount of people who are in power. So either one or a few. And usually they have control of a lot of people. And if all those people decided just to attack, there's nothing to stop them. Mhm. The other thing was in the oligarchy and even a monarchy or autocracy, sorry, government, the legislative people usually pass whatever the ruler wants, usually without question. So basically, be like they're trying to tell the world we're a democracy. We believe in people voting, but the thing is, they already bought out the politicians and basically make them bobbleheads. They tell them, hey, when I tell you to say yes, you say yes. So, and they pay them, and so they'll shake their head, yeah, yeah, whatever he said, yeah, okay, then I'll vote for that. So that's the problem with that type of government. All right, so now we come to democracy. Now, democracy is a form of government that is ruled by the people. Now, you should have learned this from your world history class. You should have learned this from your US history class. But the word democracy comes from the Greek. They're the ones who created it. Demos means the people, and kratia means to rule. So democracy literally means demos kratia, democracy, the people rule, quite literally. Now, when it comes to democracy, there are two types of it. One is direct. Now, direct is when the people govern themselves by voting on issues individually as citizens. The problem is there is no way we can do this in this country because it's so big. A lot of countries cannot do this because of the size. And the thing is, people don't have time to sit around reading a bill, from here and other places to vote on it and, national stuff and then vote on it. We don't have the time. We do not have the time. And the thing is, too, you have to remember, some people, even senators is a great example. They do not read the stuff. They have their aides read it and then tell me what it means, type of thing. So they don't even read it. They have other people read it and then analyze it and then break it down for them. The form of government we have is representative democracy. Now, representative democracy means the people elect representatives and give them responsibilities and power to make laws and conduct the government on our behalf. Okay, um, this group is usually called, council, legislature, Congress, and we have that. We have that locally. We have councils, and state level we have legislature, and in the national level we have Congress. Okay, so we do have those things. Um, but the only one different is Parliament. That's usually associated with England. Okay. All right. So now we come to Republic. This basically means the voters are the power of the government. They are the true source of it. Now, I was going to tell you the story about Ben Franklin and this lady, but I'm just going to skip that because it's not really relevant. Kind of is, but it's not too much. Um, Another word for republic is representative democracy and constitutional republic. Whenever you hear those words on the news or when someone's trying to say something on the politician, basically they're talking about a republic. That's it. Nothing special. Okay? It's just fancier language. Now, in a system, this is a system where the government is limited and the people are the ultimate source of the government. Okay? Now, here's a funny little tidbit. Not every democracy is a republic. England is a democracy, but again, they don't have a republic. They are a constitutional monarch. Okay. So here we come to my favorite part of this whole section. Majority rules with minority rights. Now here's the thing. In a democracy, the majority rules. Always. 51% always beats 49%. Always. But the thing is, back in the day, a lot of governments would basically take advantage of those 49%. Those 51% would get better living conditions, better jobs, things like that, whereas the 49% would be hurting for a while. The thing is, in this country, under the Constitution, you are guaranteed rights that would prevent a tyranny of the majority. So the majority cannot take over and say, everything's going to go our way. No. You, as a person, as a citizen, as a minority, have rights. The Constitution protects those rights. Okay, um, and again, they are protected. People might try to fight it, but ultimately, you're protected. However, with that being said, there have been times when the minority rights were stripped away due to national security. Two great examples was on April 27th, 1861, Lincoln suspends the right of habeas corpus to newspaper sympathizer writers um, in Maryland and Philadelphia. Now, habeas corpus is when you go to jail and the judge says, um, it's a crime, and they tell them and say, should we keep them? Yes or no? And they usually say, the lawyers will say, well, this guy killed 40 people. Yeah, keep him in. This guy jaywalked. Let him go. Something big. So that's what they did. Okay, that's what Lincoln did. Now, on February 19th, 1942, FDR let out Executive Order 9066, which basically took all the Japanese Americans on the west coast of America and put them in concentration camps. Okay, they were stripped of their rights, homes, jobs. They lost that. Okay, was not a pretty thing. So here's your final question. Which form of government do you believe is best if you are a common person? And which one is best if you're a rich person? Okay, so there's a writing prompt on the bottom, okay, for each one. Now, once you are finished with all this and you've written down all this stuff, you're done. Okay, so when you come to class, be sure you turn in this notes into the black basket by the door. Okay, um, so hopefully you learned something new, and hope to see you in class. Okay, you guys have a good day. Take care.